All right, guys, how's it going? Now, before I get into this video, I just want to let you know that I'll be live on here tonight at 6 o'clock UK time for an hour or so. So if you want to come along for a natter about all things LFC, come and see me. All right. So in this video, we're going to be talking about an email I've received. Now, if you are new to the channel, please continue listening. If you are a long-term viewer or whatever, you know how this feature works. You can check the pinned comment in the comment section, which will give you a timestamp to skip the intro. So if you're new to the channel, basically the mail stand is where I read out emails that I've received from various people for your information, just like, hey, I've received this, what do you think, kind of thing. Now, these emails could be from people I know, obviously with the consent to use them or whatever, but they could be from people I've known, to do with Cop Talk for the last, 20, 30 years or whatever. Or it could be complete strangers on the internet that I have no idea whether they're chatting shit or not. Now, when I read the email to you, I could be reading it thinking, what are they shy? Or I could be reading it thinking, I wish I could tell them more. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of fun. It gives you an idea of the sort of things that I receive behind the scenes, all right? So there's no harm in that, is there? Now, I'm not endorsing something, I'm not dismissing it or whatever. It's up to you to form your own opinions, all right? It's that simple. Now, what you might see me do when I read an email is I might look a bit hesitant. That's because I'm just making sure that I'm not reading out something I shouldn't, like someone's name, all right? I can't show you this email because it has got the person's name. Well, I can sort of like cover it a little bit with my hand, which should just cover their name at the bottom. But there's the email. Which I am going to read to you. Okay, so this says as follows. Now, first of all, it was received on the 14th of September, which I believe was Sunday. My birthday was the 13th, so the Sunday, this was the Sunday the 14th, 10:50 here. I was in bed. All right, so this is the first opportunity I've had to go over this with you, and it says as follows. Very quick one, mate. Stevie, as in Steven Gerrard, obviously, has been approached this morning to see if he would be interested in going back to Rangers as manager. He has said he won't talk about it while someone else is in the job. So in other words, according to my mate, it looks like Russell Martin is on thin ice, possibly 2 games away from being relieved of his duties. Stevie G will go back if that's the case. Now, I do not follow Scottish football at all. I have no idea how Rangers are doing. I don't know if this would be easy for someone to say. I'll be honest with you, I put Russell Martin into Google just before I started recording this video, and it basically said, I think it said something like fans demand Russell Martin is removed. I think those articles were dated today, I'm not sure. So a couple of days back, I don't know what the coverage was surrounding Russell Martin or Rangers or anything. I'm not trying to suggest the author is latching onto something that any of us could say. I am literally just passing on to you what they said. I don't know. I have no idea. I did a tour of Rangers Stadium. I can't remember when it was. It must have been a couple of years ago now. I did have the video, but I think I deleted it. It was like a tour. I really enjoyed it. I was up in Glasgow. And when I visit cities and things, I always like to do a stadium tour, whether I like the club or not. Rangers, I like Rangers. When I was 15, 16, I had the Rangers tops and everything at school. I don't know. If you said to me which Rangers team, I know I'm disappointing some of you, but I would say Rangers. But there you go. That's irrelevant. But when I did the stadium tour, I was talking to the tour guide, very intelligent, knowledgeable man. And he was talking about Steven Gerrard, and he literally said, the real reason, for Steven Gerrard, walking away from the club or leaving the club, however you want to define it, has never come out, And this is the guy that takes you on the stadium tour, all right? So he said, the real reason has never come out, and suggesting problems internally between maybe senior management and stuff. Doesn't mean Steven Gerrard did anything wrong or anything like that. I don't mean controversy, like no, did that really happen? I just think what he was implying or saying was there was maybe a disagreement, maybe like how the club should be run, I don't know. I don't know. The reason I'm adding that bit, because you might say, well, that's not very helpful. You're telling us something you don't know, is the way he said it made it sound like there was, an aggravating factor that contributed. We all obviously know where that he left for, other employment or whatever. But for him to go back, I don't know if the same people are there or not. I don't know. I'm just throwing that in there because that's what I was told at the time. Like, the real reason, there was an issue there that contributed to his decision to leave, because if that hadn't have been ongoing at the time, he would have rejected other opportunities. I don't know. This is a guy that works for the club, right? So I wish I had that video actually, because it was like he was studying. It was in one of the manager's office or something. I don't know. And I did film it, and the guy when he knew I was filming, so he wasn't worried about being on film or anything like that. But I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. The reason I mention it purely is because if there was a chance of going back, would it go back if there was a problem? I don't fucking know. To be honest with you, I don't care either. All right, I'll leave it with you. So that's an email I received a couple of days ago. No idea. I'm not in the loop with anything to do with north of the border. All right, guys, I'll leave it with you. I know you guys like the mail stand feature. There is another one I could go over, actually. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to mention it in here, because I remember reading the email, and I'm sure I found it difficult to read it. And what I mean by that is it was just like I would have had to change a lot of it to make it make sense. And when I read these emails, I like them to be, I like to use the exact words of the author. Like every word I've just read out for you is word for word. If I start changing words, then I'm putting my own opinion in as to what I think the author means. So I don't like to do it. I'm sure on the last email, it was just a bit clunky. That's all. And I can tell you right now that email was basically suggesting that FSG was still interested in Valencia, buying Valencia Football Club. I think in a previous mail stand video from the same author on that one was saying that something to do with the finances of the Valencia owner trying to borrow money, and FSG had influence over people that would have been lending the money, and they were making it difficult. And I don't know, you'd have to go back through the mail stand. If you search this channel for the mail stand, there'll be stuff about Valencia. Anyway, basically in that email, I'll just get the email. I'm not going to read it though, because I know I'm convinced it was difficult to read it to you. Let's have a look. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. It was received 4 days ago. It was received on the 12th of September at 12:43 local time, right? So 11:43 UK time. And I can remember now why I didn't read it. I think I would have had to explain the previous mail stand video, right? Let me explain. If it doesn't make sense, you're going to have to go back and watch the other video. Mate, this is hot off the press. Valencia are under the radar again. If you remember a few months ago, how behind the scenes the LFC board were making it difficult for the owner of Valencia to get loans, or they were under unfavourable rates. That's what I mean. It doesn't make sense when you read it, right? So, well, he did get a loan, and the first payments are due in November, and he, and then in brackets it says the Valencia owner, has already asked for a meeting with the hedge fund seeking to lower the payments but on a longer term basis. This is exactly what FSG wanted. Brackets. Personally, I think FSG are without doubt the masters of business. Close brackets. So do not write off Valencia being bought by FSG, as they always wanted Valencia. Just a bit of info for you from, and then, who it is. And the bit that I thought that people might not understand when I covered this email was this bit. The LFC board were making it difficult for the owner of Valencia to get loans, or they were under unfavourable rates. I thought, when I read that, I'm going to have to go back through the old emails, and I couldn't do it at the time. So now you can see why I weren't going to do it. So basically, I think it was, don't focus too much on the LFC board. It was more about FSG, who are also on the LFC board. Does that make sense? See what I mean? It's a little bit complicated, and I just thought it's going to take too long to go through it. But that's the email, so I'm leaving them both with you. Don't take it out on me in the comment section if you didn't understand anything. Those are how I received them, all right? Okay, guys, I'm sure now the author or authors, whenever I do one of these videos, they usually follow up and go, look, this is what I meant. But I understood it, but I think unless you saw the previous one, you won't get it. The message is, all right, that FSG are still interested in Valencia if you believe the author. There, forget all the other shite, all right? That's it. And over here in Spain, there was an article a few months about all these different clubs FSG had been sniffing around. If you remember, when Mamardashvili was at Valencia and they were at the bottom of La Liga and they were struggling, that was when FSG were first mentioned with them, like a club in distress. If they go down, they might swoop for them kind of thing. But then remember, Valencia climbed up, and then it was like, no, the owner was saying the club's not for sale, this, that, and the other. All right. So I'm sorry if it doesn't make much sense, but that's how I receive things. Okay, I'll leave it with you. If you somehow did manage to find some interest in this video, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment, and you know the drill. If you want to buy me a coffee or a beer, there's love out under the video. It's called a super thanks. Anyone that supports my channel, I always give them a shout out in my morning briefing the next day on my other YouTube channel, Duncan Oldham. The link is in the video description to that channel. It'll also pop up on the screen. It's kind of like Cop Talk 2 over there. We talk about Cop Talk, we talk about me, we talk about you, we talk about community, Liverpool, etc., etc. If you really like my content on here, maybe you would like the morning briefings. All right, guys, I'll leave it with you. All right, cheers.